So we have find and find all, which is great, but we also have CSS style selectors. And CSS style selectors allow us to navigate to find elements based off of CSS selectors. If you're not familiar, or it's been a while since you worked with CSS, I have a little cheat sheet here for some of the selector syntax. To select something based off of an ID, we use the octothorpe, the hash sign, followed by the ID name. To select off of a class, we use the dot. So if a class is called bar, we could select dot bar. We can also do things like select children using the greater than, or select descendants using a space. If none of that makes sense to you because you've never used CSS, then just erase it from your mind for now. So let's practice a couple examples. Instead of find or find all, we use soup.select. And then we just pass in a string with our CSS selector. So if I want this div with ID of first, I just type octothorpe first. So it's a shorter, nicer syntax compared to doing soup.find and then saying, what was it? ID equals first. This is a bit nicer in my opinion, only if you're comfortable with CSS. So if we print D now, we get that first div that has the ID of first. But notice when we use select, it always gives us a list back. So if we use find, we know we get one item back. If we use find all, we get a list back. And if we use select, we get a list back. So in the example of an ID, if we want the data from it, or we want the actual object, we have to access zero, the zeroth element. And now it's no longer in a list. And remember, this is the representation that's printed out. It is an object behind the scenes. So to select a class, what are classes? We have a special, so we use dot, and that will give us a list because we're using select. Here's our list of 2 LIs that have the class set to special. We can also select just based off of a tag name if you wanted to, like div, that's valid CSS. Here we get a list with all the divs, 2 of them. And if we wanted to select based off of an attribute, we use the square brackets. And the attribute I want is data example, which I have on both of these. And if I don't want to check what it's equal to, I just want to select if they have data example, I can do that. And here we go, a list with 2 items. Okay, so that's kind of the basics of selecting. You can either use find and find all, or you can use select. Just remember, select always returns a list. So here's a little comparison. To select based off of an ID, you can do soup.find, ID equals foo, soup.select, hash sign, octothorpe, foo, and then get the 0th item. This doesn't return a list, it's just one object. This returns a list with one object. Then to select based off of a class, the nicer syntax, I think, is to do this, nice dot bar. You don't have to worry about, the keyword conflict with the name class and having to use the trailing underscore. It's kind of gross in my opinion. So I prefer this, but both will work and both give you a list because we're using find all. And last, down here, we have examples where we're actually using an attribute called databaz. I just showed an example of this using find all versus using select. So using select often results in cleaner, shorter code, but in these cases that I've shown, you don't have to use select. There's a perfectly good replacement using find or find all if you're not comfortable with CSS. All right, so all we did in this video was see how to, we first installed Beautiful Soup, then we imported it, and then we instantiated a new instance of Beautiful Soup with our HTML string. And then we just were able to grab elements out of it and select, but we still haven't been able to actually read the data out. So that's what we'll show in the next video.